Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to What's Up With That, the show that brings you interesting people, places, cultures, and subcultures here in the South Bay, the San Francisco Bay Area, the state of California, and beyond. And tonight, what's up with SparkFun? What is SparkFun? And how does somebody get involved in the act of creating? Well, let me tell you a story. I used to make a lot of stuff. I used to make noise. I used to make my mom and dad mad. I used to make up lies to get my brothers and sisters in trouble. But let me tell you something. If you gave me a screwdriver and a screw and told me to put it there, I wouldn't be able to do it. What's up with that? Well, we have people here who are able to do things like this and more, visiting from Colorado, coming to California, being on our show. How does it get any better than that? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome from SparkFun. We have Nathan Seidel,
yep.
Okay.
No worry, yeah.
You know what? We have Lindsay Lovecoff. I got that one down. And Andrea Bowe. Welcome to What's Up With That. So how did SparkFun get started?
SparkFun is a company that's about 8 years old.
Okay.
It started in 2000 when I was a junior in college.
Okay.
So I was working out of a bedroom as a student.
Go Buffaloes, right?
Go Buffaloes, you got it, yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Threw together a website over Christmas and started selling stuff and didn't think I would sell much to any more than myself and some friends. And here we are 8 years later with about 120 friends. All just a bustling company shipping stuff all over the world.
Wow. Based out of Boulder?
Based out of Boulder. Yep.
So what is your goals? I mean, you can all speak. Join on in. There's one happy family. What is the goal of SparkFun?
Ooh, as an entirety. Basically, we are there to enable people to enjoy electronics, to get started with electronics, and to make ideas into a reality.
Okay. You as well? What do you see the goal as?
For me, it's just sort of sharing the bite. Whenever you get bitten with electronics and you say, "Hey, I've got this problem. I want to build a solution."
A bite I've never gotten, by the way. So,
but I'm sure you've had.
But
I'm sure. Have you ever had a problem? Have you ever had
I've never had one problem in my life. You know, so I've lived a problem-free life.
So let me tell you, there's a guy at work who has a problem. We have skateboards at work. And there's this blind corner, so a skateboarder will come around the corner and they run the risk of hitting another skateboarder coming around the corner. So he at work wants to build a little sign, so whenever the motion detector sees the skateboarder coming, then this light turns on the big red X. It's just one of those little problems that they had, that with the electronics you can build a really simple solution. So have you ever had a problem with, locking your keys in your car, or not being able to feed your cat, or being able, have you had a problem?
Yeah. That's a great question. I love that. I could go on forever about that. Well, yeah. I mean, and I guess a simple solution is the best solution. I don't always think that.
We like to show people that.
Go ahead.
We just like to show people that they can build solutions. They can actually solve the problems that they themselves have.
No, and I think it's great. I wish I was a builder. I guess that's the point. We kind of went around.
Why do you think you're not?
I don't know yet.
Oh, okay.
Wait a second. Whose show is this? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So you. Yo, you. What's up? So what are your goals with SparkFun?
We started out small. When I first started at SparkFun, we were like 25 people, I think, and we were just starting to really kind of take off. And really, I'm the marketing communications director, so I do all the branding, and it's really cool for me to see this stuff get into schools, get into the 13-year-old that's down the block from me or something, or my kid. I have a 6-year-old kid, and she's starting to get interested in it. And it's really cool because the technology is so accessible today that anybody could potentially build whatever they need, whatever problem they have. They can actually come up with a solution and make it happen without having to wait for, bigger technology companies coming up with some mass marketed product.
And I think that's the cool thing about the Makers Fair in general, or any of those kind of fairs, is that it brings kind of the thinkers that don't always have a place to show their wares, you know what I mean? By doing that, it increases awareness. I mean, technology sometimes freaks me out. Okay, it really does. You know, I made a big mistake today. Pressed this little button that says Windows. What am I supposed to say that? Whatever. As you some bug, all of a sudden, you know. Anyways,
we try to make technology a little bit more fun, a little bit more
yeah,
approachable
I guess
than that.
so.
And,
yeah, I wasn't saying fun things to that green screen.
So that's the reason why we call it SparkFun, is because if you're causing sparks, that's usually a bad thing with electronics. But that's usually when you're having the most fun.
And
That's
learning.
usually
When you're
good.
learning,
Okay,
yeah,
you wanted to talk about a problem. That's a good one. Okay, the sparks coming
Causing
out.
sparks?
Sparks when you plugged in something in the wall and it starts to like have a meltdown. Yeah, that's a problem. Okay?
But you probably learned something from that
I
experience.
learned not to use that one anymore. See, that's knowledge at its best. Okay, so what do you do at SparkFun?
The big thing. So I'm just sort of, I have my hand in all the cookie jars. I'm trying to herd all the cats together, keep them going. But in my free time, I still like to build stuff. So this is an example of something I've been working on for probably 6 months now. And I call it the FM wall. And this is just a demo that we put together. This is nothing that we sell. It's just an example of what you can do with some of our parts. And if you can imagine, you listen to the radio in your car. What's the max frequency? It's like 107.9. And the minimum frequency is... no, like when you turn the dial, there's all these different radio stations. So there's actually 100 different radio stations in North America.
All right,
So at any given moment, when we power this thing up, the needles will display that this is a radio station and this is static.
okay, cool.
Right? And then, you know, you see that there's a radio station there and a radio station there and a radio station there. And then when you turn the dial, it tunes to wherever you set it.
Wow.
So you can actually see the entire radio stations, all the radio stations at once, and see which ones there's music on and which ones there are not.
Very
Without having to
cool.
scan.
Yeah, without having to hit the scan button and wonder what's there, you can go straight to it.
And so this is a work in progress, right?
Yeah, it's just a project I'm working on for Maker Faire.
So your ultimate goal with this is to have it in every household in America?
No. None of our
That's your job. That's your job. Come on.
So a lot of the things that we sell, right? We don't sell you a finished product. We sell you the bits and pieces to build your own invention, your own idea.
Okay, well that puts a whole different meaning.
So this might never ever make it to like Target. You could buy this and put it on your wall. This is just something that, like a project, a fun thing that Nate created just because.
But what it will do is it will inspire the young thinker to create. Isn't that what it's all about?
Absolutely. It shows them a little bit of science, right? It talks about sort of, you know, something we're regularly used to, the radio, and then shows them it in a different way.
Okay. All right, we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back to talk more with SparkFun. right, we're back here on What's Up With That with SparkFun, and you know, I think this would be a challenge. It's a challenge for me as a teacher, because I teach, to get kids interested in anything. I mean, let's be honest, right? You know, we have this sort of lethargic generation that we're raising. I mean, you know, they come up, well, I mean, and I blame, okay, it's just my opinion, the computers and stuff. I know they've freed the world and says whatever, but you know, that's what they do. So how do you get a person off the computer and into hands-on electronic stuff? How do you do that?
We're actually
I'd like to know.
very interested in education. We really like to teach. We really like to talk to folks. Dr. Lefkoff here is our director of education. She can probably speak more.
Well, if you take the average child who likes a computer, it would be encouraging them to understand the technology that they're using. And so one way is to start small, smaller. So, you know, starting with some very basic principles, we have a lot of tutorials and products that you can learn the very fundamentals of electronics. And that just inspires people to think about the technology that's around them.
Right.
As far as encouraging people to get started, there's so much technology around us. I would venture to guess even people who are a little hesitant about it still want to learn more.
Right.
And so we just want to be a springboard, you know, a resource for people to go to where they can learn more about technology and get their hands dirty.
Yeah, and in the state of California, it's mandated that you teach technology.
Well, that's actually excellent news. I hope that spreads across the entire country.
But you have to see the dilemma here, okay? You have people like me. So, henceforth, what looks good on paper when it moves to the classroom is a little bit different.
Well,
but that's all right, okay?
You mentioned that you don't feel that you are a maker, but I highly encourage you to come to Maker Fair. We've got a booth. Throughout both days, we teach hundreds of people how to put together this little game. Very simple instructions. We show you how to do it. We've put thousands of these kits together and have been successful almost 100% of the time. So if you'd like to come put together something, we come to Maker Fair, and we'd love to show you how to do it.
No, I've been to Maker Fair. I think it's the most coolest thing. It's, you know, it's like the Burning Man that happens in the middle of the year, you know? I'm just saying, you know. And I love to play with stuff. I just don't know how to put it together.
Well, one of the things you talked about with how do you get the kids involved and kids excited about science and technology, and it might start with like just a simple kit, and they put it together and it actually functions, and all of a sudden you've sparked something in them, and they're like, wow, I can do it. And then kind of expose them to potentially what's possible, like this sensor does this sensor does that. What if you put them together, and all of a sudden, you know, they're naturally creative, you know, and they'll start coming up with ideas just on the fly, just on the spot.
And it is true. I totally agree with you, because I can put out stuff with a vision in my mind for something, and something else evolves. But that's what you want, you know. Then they own it. It's an ownership thing. It's, you know. Okay, so you said, you know, you go to the Maker Fair. How did you find out about the Maker Fair, and how did you get involved in it?
It started years ago. The first project, so this is our 6th year at Maker Fair, and the first project we took to Maker Fair was a gigantic, the GPS clock, the wall clock, is what Maker Fair first invited SparkFun out to the first Maker Fair to demo another one of the projects that we had written. We do a lot of wacky things, and then we just write the tutorial. And we say, hey, this is how we built it. Here's all we're very open source. We're very transparent.
That's
about
cool.
the projects we build.
And so do you go all around the country to different fairs or things?
Yes and no. We've been to a couple different conferences or fairs. Maker Fairs really like our best friends. They're the type of people that we really click with, that we really jive with. So Maker Fair both in San Mateo, and we also go to the Maker Fair in New York. That's where our friends are at. Those are the ones we enjoy.
The people in San Mateo are much nicer than the ones in New York. I want to clarify that. So come to the one in San Mateo. I've been to the Maker Fair in San Mateo. I love it. Yeah. I love the cupcakes.
Oh, the motorized cupcakes with the hats and
you know, that's just too cool. And the giant mousetrap.
Whenever the safe hits the ground, you can feel the earth moving.
I love the safe. I always wonder, what if someone knows? Anyways, so you said you teach workshops. What types of workshops? What specifically are you teaching? It's probably a lot of them.
Yeah, we have quite the range of workshops that we offer. We start as simple as just teaching people how to solder, and then we kind of work through more intermediate, where we're teaching them how to actually design PCBs. We do some prototyping, and then we get into more specific types of electronics like XB, so wireless communication. And so we're really trying to broaden the number and types of classes that we offer. Another emphasis is actually workshops for teachers, so helping to bring down the barriers for teachers to bring the technology into the classroom.
Staff meeting tomorrow, yeah. So you just mentioned solder, and I have this kind of mind where it just, whatever. When you're teaching a kid to solder, is there any kind of little dangers involved in that?
It's kind of amazing. The kids are actually a lot better than the adults, right? Because the kids have no fear.
Right.
They get right into it, and very rarely do they burn themselves. And even when they do, they go ow, and they keep going at it. Right. Yeah. It's usually the adults that are kind of hands off, and you have to encourage them to do it.
Behind the kid going,
but what we're also getting into is it's kind of wacky, but the thread in your clothing. They've come out with a thread that's conductive. So now we're teaching.
That's nice to know.
Well, no. So now you don't have to solder anymore. All you have to do is sew. Right.
Okay.
You can put the electronics on clothing and then sew the conductive thread in between the electronics.
Okay.
So we've come to our booth. We've got a kit, and we've got the needle and thread, and you too can put together an electronics kit just by sewing.
I'd love to be sitting in a staff meeting and explaining this to the teachers. Okay, so we're gonna get this done. Just work with me, teachers, right? We're gonna get a shirt, and we're gonna put some thread on it, and we're gonna conduct stuff through it. They're gonna be like, the heck we are.
What's
no,
really
I think
cool.
it's fascinating though.
What's really cool about that one though is it is very much low tech. So it's a piece of fabric that you're using thread, and so you're not thinking electronics at that point.
Right.
And you can very easily see how to connect a circuit. So you start at that basic level with kids or big kids like adults, and something like this might be a little scary or daunting, but you see the little piece of fabric and you're like, oh, it's not a big deal. And so that's kind of your entrance to asking more questions, digging in deeper, and it's fun.
I mean, and I'll say, not to mention a product name, but one of the things that my kids like to do, and they do a lot better than I do with it, is connect. So I think that's kind of like the basic sort of foundation of this stuff. Have you ever seen the instructions to a connect set?
No, is this the plastic bits that snap together?
Yeah. I mean, you have to be Einstein level to figure out even what they're, you got the yellow B6 goes to them. Mr. Andrew, do you know? No, I don't know. No, come on. All right, we're going to take a short station break, and we'll be back.
Hi, my name is Susie Moon, and I work for CineQuest Film Festival. I wanted to share with you about all the great films that matter, the film and technology forums that really give you the inside scoop of all the great technology and filmmaking out there, and as well as the Maverick Spirit guests, who are the highlights of our festival. We want you to come and have fun, meet new friends, and just enjoy your time. And you can check out our website for more information.
All right, we're back here with these wonderful inventors. We've talked a lot about some of the processes. So what types of events do you go to? You go to the Makers Faire. What other things? Do you go to campuses? Do you go to,
We've talked.
Give me the 411.
We really enjoy teaching. We really enjoy showing folks how to build different things. So we've gone to various universities and done some workshops and different things. But there's two contests that we put on every year that really bring together our customers and our users and everybody and all of our friends, really. The first one is the autonomous vehicle competition. Sounds really geeky, but it's basically it's the goal is to build a robot that can drive itself around a building.
Whoa.
It's a lot of fun. There's lots of costumes and crazy robots, and they run into each other.
I really like that stuff, so don't get me wrong. I'm like a kid, I love toy stuff. I'm not saying this is toy stuff.
No, absolutely. It's like fun robots. We try to make it as fun as possible.
I like the robots when they fight each other.
Oh yeah.
Those are cool. So, see, See, I'm a little tech savvy here. So I know you do a lot of like, stuff for philanthropy and things like that. Tell me about that.
We just did you can talk about Place?
Sorry.
The workshop we just did at Place?
So recently we were at an elementary school in Denver, an after-school care program, and we brought a bunch of the Simon game kits that Nate mentioned earlier that we'll be actually teaching how to solder at Maker Faire this weekend. We brought those to an after-school program, and this was a donation, and then actually helped the kids build the kits, and then a few weeks later brought them back to SparkFun headquarters to actually give them a tour and explain all the different careers. And so we saw a huge jump in the interest in science, technology, engineering, mathematics in the students. As far as charities go, the kits that we'll be building this weekend at Maker Faire, we're taking donations to build the kits, which we've already donated to Maker Faire. And then the money that we collect from the donations will then be given both to, I believe, the San Francisco Food Bank and the Wayback Machine charities.
Yeah. Well, I've always said that people should always be involved in giving back. What are some of the unexpected uses for electronics? You talked about the skateboard. Give me some ideas of some of the wild. I don't even necessarily have to be wild. It sounds like it's more practical.
Oh, it's
You got to come to Maker Faire because you're going to see all of that at Maker Faire.
Give me an example of like something that just stands out in your mind.
There's hundreds upon hundreds of projects. Mikey Skylar built the flame trampoline. So he put a distance sensor underneath the trampoline, and he hooked that up to a motor, and that motor just happened to be attached to a propane tank. So
that sounds safe.
the harder you jump on the trampoline, the bigger the flame.
Okay.
Right?
That's cool though.
That's completely amazing. Is that
a kid would
love
that too?
And is it ever going to be a consumer product? I hope so, but probably not.
Yeah.
So
when you see your neighbor's house burning down, yeah.
So there's many projects
That's right.
where folks take our parts, and we don't try to say, hey, this is what you do with our parts. We say, hey, these are what this is what you can do.
Yeah.
And then they go and they get really creative with some of their
And
applications.
I think the can-do attitude is what we have to instill in our kids.
It's the can-do and it's the creativity.
Yeah.
It's not just, this is an iPhone or this is a product anymore. It's like, hey, here's some bits and pieces. Go see what you can build with it.
Yeah. So, and it's amazing what they can build with so little, especially when you're at a low-income school. There's a lot of so little. Okay.
Well, one option we're working with recently is basically conductive Play-Doh. So
wow.
It's
there's just a lot of conductivity going on here, huh?
Got to make circuits.
I tell you.
It's basically just a recipe that a professor, Anne-Marie Thomas, came up with, which is just a really high salt homemade Play-Doh, very inexpensive, and you can create circuits
That's so awesome.
with Play-Doh.
Just by putting bits
just
of
by
Play-Doh
putting
together.
bits of Play-Doh together.
And you know what we'd have to do at a school? Because it's something like that, we'd have to put out these like formal letters to the parents that we're going to be making, conductive Play-Doh. It's just the way it is, But I think they'd like
all
it.
Play-Doh is conductive. You don't even have to tell them. You just say, hey, we're going to be playing with Play-Doh
Remember,
today.
you're not talking to. Really, that's cool. Okay, that's great. I like that. What is the bizarrest thing you've seen at Maker's Faire? Because that's really a broad question.
Well, that's the
tough
cupcakes.
question.
You mentioned the cupcakes. That's not bizarre. That's just fun. Those
Right.
are just fun.
There's all sorts of like fire-breathing sculptures, and you mentioned the giant mousetrap. There's the Coke, the Mentos and Coke fountain.
Right.
Guys, the giant Tesla coil. I mean, where do
Guy
you?
that dances with the Tesla coil.
Oh, Megavolt, Mr. Megavolt.
Mr. Megavolt.
It's overwhelming. I mean, if you want to go see unique projects, you go to Maker Faire.
Right. And that Mentos thing too, because I wasn't really prepared for that when I first did that. I wanted to go, yeah. Oh, is it working? I learned it did work. Okay, we're getting right to the end of the show. So, just any final comments you have about your products and about the Maker Faire in general?
So you're going to come to Maker Faire?
I have an invitation, and so You know, I usually do when I have an invitation. So thank you.
Yes.
If you make it out, stop by our booth and we'll show you the textiles kit, the conductive thread. And
Well, it sounds very interesting. Okay. Anything you want to say to the children of the world? We are the world.
Don't be afraid of trying something new. I mean, when that spark happens, or like whenever you're taking something apart and you don't necessarily get all the parts back into it,
Right.
that's when you're really kind of rolling up your sleeves and learning something new.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid of something you don't understand.
Right.
Go play. Go figure it out. Go try something different.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to end with my Connect story because they send you in the box not one extra piece. Okay, and you're building a roller coaster that's like 8 feet high, right? What do? So my kids use popsicle sticks with the little masking tape, and it worked. Aha!
Yep.
Makers Faire children in the making. All right, well, thank you very much for coming on the show. The best of luck at Makers Faire and all the things that you create. Keep creating. You know, that's what life's all about. And to our viewing audience, as always, if you're walking down the street and you see something interesting and you wonder to yourself, hey, what's up with that? Well, tune into our show, What's Up With That, and maybe you'll find exactly what you're looking for. We'll see you next week on What's Up With That. Good night, everybody.